We all have them. Those moments when someone says or does something that just makes us cringe, or angry, or, well, just totally annoyed. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea. What if these emotional triggers aren't just roadblocks? What if they're actually powerful gateways to understanding and healing ourselves?
It's a universal feeling, right? That one person whose habits or words just drive you up the wall. It's so easy to think the problem is them. But what if that intense irritation is actually a mirror? What if it's pointing to something way deeper inside of us?
Now, this idea, it flips everything on its head. Instead of seeing a trigger as some kind of personal flaw or something we need to run away from, we can reframe it as a form of communication. It's like a little message from your inner world, telling you that a part of you really, really wants to be heard.
So let's really get into this idea of irritation as an invitation. In this first part, we're going to unpack the psychological magic that turns other people into, well, unwitting messengers for our own inner world.
Okay, so the big concept here is something called projection. It's when we take a feeling or a trait or even a memory that's just too uncomfortable for us to own. Maybe it's a deep-seated fear of being incompetent, and we unconsciously just plop it onto someone else. We see it in them, so we don't have to feel it in ourselves.
And this, right here, is where things get really kind. It moves us away from that inner critic who's always asking, ugh, why am I so sensitive, and moves us toward genuine curiosity. Your psyche isn't broken. It's just trying to show you something really important.
But, just recognizing this pattern isn't quite enough. The real magic happens in that split second you get triggered, because right there, in that moment, you have a choice. This is the turning point. It's often just a fraction of a second, but I promise you it's always there, that tiny little space between the spark of irritation and the wildfire of your reaction. Learning to find that space, and maybe even widen it a little, that's where all the growth begins.
This is where we can literally change the entire game, just by changing the question we ask. The old, automatic question, what's wrong with them? It's all about judgment, looking outward. But the new, conscious question, what is this trying to tell me? It turns your focus inward with curiosity. You go from being a critic of everyone else to becoming a student of yourself.
Okay, so you've hit the pause button, and you've asked that new, curious question. What comes next? Well, this section is a practical guide for that journey inward. A kind of inner homecoming for all the parts of yourself you've been projecting onto others. Think of it like a four-step dance. First, you recognize it. Just name it. Okay, I think this might be a projection. Second, you pause. Take that one crucial breath before you react. Third, you ask. Get curious. What memory, what fear, what old longing is being touched in me right now? And finally, the most important step, be mild. Offer some genuine kindness to whatever you find, without any judgment.
And this quote just completely reframes the goal, doesn't it? We're not trying to become these perfect, unflappable superhumans. The real work is about becoming more compassionate and gentle with all the messy, complicated feelings that make us who we are.
This is so important. It's not about getting rid of anger or sadness forever. It's about building the inner strength to hold those feelings without letting them take over. It's the difference between being drowned by a wave and actually learning how to surf it.
Now, all this inner work might sound like a solo mission, right? But here's the twist. A lot of our wounds were formed in relationships, so it makes sense that the healing often needs to happen there, too.
Healing just isn't a solo project. It happens in the space between us. We need other people, not to save us, but to simply bear witness as we learn to feel safe with our own emotions.
So what kind of person helps with this? Not a rescuer, but a witness. A witness doesn't jump in with a 10-point plan to fix everything. Instead, they offer something way more valuable, their calm, accepting presence. They create a space where your feelings can just be. And this is a really crucial distinction. A rescuer, and they usually mean well, listens so they can fix the problem and make the bad feeling go away. But a witness allows the feeling to be there, communicating with their presence that you're not alone in it and that the feeling itself is okay.
And that brings us to this profound truth. The most powerful healing doesn't come from advice. It comes from the simple, incredible experience of being truly seen and accepted for who you are, feelings and all.
All right, last section. Let's talk about what this journey actually feels like over time. Our culture loves the idea of a straight line of progress, from broken to fixed. But that's just not how human growth works.
A wave is a much better metaphor. Recovery ebbs and flows. It's this dynamic process with moments of real clarity, followed by moments of doubt. It's a living, breathing thing.
So how do we navigate these waves? Well, it starts by changing our perspective. Instead of calling them setbacks, let's just think of them as ripples. Instead of focusing on speed, let's focus on the depth of what we're learning. And most importantly, trust your own pace. This whole process unfolds with willingness, not brute force willpower. And when you really boil it all down, this is the metric that truly matters. Progress isn't about never getting triggered again. It's about how you treat yourself when you do. Are you responding with just a little more softness, a little more patience, a little more curiosity than you did before? That is real healing.
So we'll leave you with this invitation. The next time you feel that irritation start to rise, look at that person or that situation and ask yourself with real, genuine curiosity, what message is here for me? What is this trying to heal?